is that please, even if you want to charge us ₦1,000,000,
You want to go and buy the.
let's work out some.
Please go and buy this. Ogba. I will pass Ogba. Where do you want us to buy?
A lot of people.
TFC. We can buy it there.
This is why a lot of people don't come to register. But you say, oh, government has done well for us, we're now paying 250. They look at it, 250. Where do I start? 250. But if we're able to tell them the total cost is to you, you may pay once, it can be broken down into 12 or 2. And we have done this in other sectors with government. So it is key. When you look at the cost of enforcement, you will realize that you can reduce the cost of enforcement to its barest minimum if we open the doors wide to these operators. We engage them, we know them. We know what they say. And there is need for our regulator to look at that. Then the almighty finance. And I've had an occasion to speak to the MD of July Minister. It will not cost this government if truly this government wants to grow the economy, to get the micro and the small businesses to come register at little or zero cost. You know what that will do? It will bring so much into the net. When you bring them into the net, 3 things will happen. Tax to government. But the moment you are there, you begin to pay tax. There are several other things that government can use, again, like this, to pay the amount which you have not written out for us to pay. Our regulator needs to help us to work with BOI and all the other avenues open to start-ups and to micro businesses. Today, what you see on the streets is not the real picture. In Lagos State, you cannot use a motorcycle that is less than 200 cc. My sister, if you have the time, I'll take you out to where a 90 cc motorcycle imported into Nigeria is sold as 200 cc in Lagos in order to meet the requirements. And you know why? A Tokumbo motorcycle that is coming to Nigeria is not higher than 100 cc. And many times than not, it is also purchased on what's called a higher purchase. You must understand this business in order to help us. When you help us, you will also grow the economy. It is important. As a regulator, you are our papa. And you must not allow us to die. My sister, don't allow us to die. I come from Ishanego, that is popular saying. that pikin not dey die in the hand of the mama. CLR don't kill us. If we grow, you allow us to grow, you will be proud of us. And the only way to do that is for the government or their ICs is for CLI through your the Ministry of Finance, which is the modern Ministry of BOI, to create a window for financing MSM in the logistics subsector economy. It is the only way out to run. When that is done, it means most of our members will have access to buy a real 200cc motorcycle. When that happens, the lifespan of that motorcycle on the average, before it begins to give problem, will be at least 5 years. Most of the Tokumbo motorcycle are 10, 12 years motorcycle that have been used somewhere, but when it gets in Nigeria, brand new, you will pop local champagne that I have bought the motorcycle and I need a rider. We have so much problems that we need on our own, to do with our members. But when they are just striving to breathe, how do you want to force them? The issue of financing is very key. The other issue, and that is why every day, madam, you go home with documents you file. It is either between the owner of the business and his rider, or between two businesses. You also need to help us with a mechanism for dispute resolution. You need to come up with a regulation or a document. I'm talking about just the limited number that you have now. I know every day you get that complaint, either from AB or from YZ. But the moment you develop that document, and while you are giving us certificate, you also let us know that there is a window here in the event that there are disagreements between our members. It is key. The issue you don't want to know. What you get in your office is only the tips of iceberg. So now, having spoken about the challenges, let us look at how to streamline the regulatory process. I brought it to three. The almighty night CLR, that is our papa. We are suggesting that we develop a streamlined process for the two categories. Also today now, everyone is in logistics. No one is in Courier. Today, when I look at the members that I like, everybody today is in logistics. In logistics. So if all of us are in logistics, then who are in Courier? And you need to help us. So that fine line between logistics and courier will also be done by our member. And that will help you as our regulators to truly and truly understand who your victims are. The BOI, that is about the finance that you need to really work with BOI for us. Already they have that window for MSME, but that window, when you try to access the window, what you see in that window is not speaking from the system. So they need to either give us our own desk in that window, or they expand that window to accommodate. When you look at that window is only talking to people who want to go into fashion, who want to go into entertainment, people. So it's not speaking. And those other sectors will also not thrive or survive if we are not there. We can go it alone, but it will be undermining the almighty CLRP. So as our Father, just lead us. Lead us. It's like the glass ceiling. Break it for us and see what we'll do. Just break it. Break it. Madam, I am saying this authoritatively, that your kingdom in the L&C subsector have everything they require to access bonding. But lead us there. Please, lead us. The ministry, your parent ministry of digital communication, must help us to develop a digital economy strategy for logistics, particularly MSME subsector. Because the ministry is doing so much, but the ministry is more interested in entertainment, in fintech. Those other subsectors will not thrive if we are not taking due cognizance. This government is doing so much in wanting to open the space, but in their effort to open the space, they don't remember our sector. BOI, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Budget, needs to on our behalf by you. What do we expect? Our expectation from government. It's for government to help us with national employment program in the logistics and courier. And what do I mean? We need to encourage whoever that in that space to at least have minimal education or knowledge of logistics and courier. We have one here in this building, and you can't give for a way to either direct us or encourage us as operators to have a crash program on logistics. A lot of our members don't understand. Rather than to buy an Okada, look for a rider. Yes. And that is why you see the issue of security. One will just take any package, any document, and send it this, send it that, without understanding the danger inherent. So we want government to help us. We're having a national empowerment program, which speaks to knowledge and understanding of the business. If you do a survey of 10 operators, either here or in other states, about the business, and that is why something fundamental is affecting us, the issue of pricing, because they don't understand. If I say for this package it is 1,500, they say, it's too much. So there is somebody else that is ready to take 500. And just because he does not understand, he cannot break down the cost for him or her to understand that he is also cheating himself or herself. And it is because they lack the knowledge. It would also be better if CLR through the PMG speak on our behalf for us to have a logistic and transportation policy. It will help the economy. There must be that willingness from the part of government. Let us have a policy or a guidance document. Maybe because that time will be too far. As a regulator, we also develop a guidance document which will speak to your expectation in regards to regulation. So I know you do it when you want to issue out certificate, but please let us have, it will be like a guidance document for us to know this is concept of government. This is what is expected of us as operators. These are the things that we should not be involved or engaged. It is important. But so help with the issue of state and local government harassment and intimidation. What do we expect from the private sector? Mentoring. You can help us by encouraging our big brothers, those that are involved in international and national. It will be knowledge sharing or call it peer review or any other name, but it is also around. It is when you get opportunities like that that you go out. Another opportunities like this, don't know when. Or maybe our papa will be calling us from time to time for us to. Madam, there is an incubation hub in Africa for people in fashion. And what is the incubation hub? A very large warehouse. And we put small offices here and there, machines, for them to bring clothes onto show for the day. So there is energy, there is everything. Today, and I stand challenged or controverted that most of my members uses their residences as office. And when you want to go out to look at what you do, you quickly, because you know you are coming, you quickly beg somebody to allow us to watch space. But the truth is, we don't have it. NIPOST is the only agency in Nigeria today with offices in all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. And you are underutilizing your properties. Why? And please consider or look into the possibility. You may even cluster us and say, as part of wanting to encourage you, we dedicate XYZ office. You have 774 main post office. And I know that in some local government, you still have posts. Please consider it. Open up the space, encourage us, cluster us. If we need to pay token, we will pay. And it will also help you in finding us and knowing what we are doing. I'm rounding up. We are proposing.
We'll give you time.
Thank you, Prof.
Go ahead and exhaust it.
Thank you, Prof. We want to propose as part of what you are doing to ensure a robust environment for us. Some of this already you have alluded to it as part of what you are doing, but we also want to do this on that also you can help us, to look at them holistically with, what we feel and what we want. Help us to harmonize our licensing requirements. I know you are doing so much. I acknowledge you are doing so much. I want to thank you for what you have done so far. I want to tell you that until the last man in the business comes out to say, government, put me in the net, you will not have done anything. We are not unmindful of the challenges which you have, but we do not care because we know that you are capable, that you will surmount challenges. But it is not who yet. So we are proposing that we have started digitization, but it is still for people who can't book. And a lot of our people do not count, so they don't reach. In your efforts of wanting to automate the process for us, we also need to look at the issue, documentation. Then the cost. I asked Mr. John Dissecting that, are you enforcing to encourage us to come, or you are enforcing as part of government to get revenue? We are still toddlers, and when a small beginning do something, it should not be cane. All you need is to do this. But what you are doing is like giving us a cane and carrot thing. The more you do that, the more our people go back. No government, all governments put together do not have capacity to enforce. People are in the space. Add that to security agencies, and we know it's costing money. But open the space for our members, they will come in. Your own enforcement will also reduce. Please, we are begging as part of our proposal for a reform of regulation. The cost is too high. It's too high. You know why the operators, particularly my brothers who are Arewa from the north, will always cluster together. If you go to Teslim Balogun Stadium and the bus stop, at any point in time, you find the bus. I know why they continue to do that. That if you come, arrest us, why do this one phone call and you not allow them to do? And then, if you also understand the business, about 30 or a little above that of our members also do not have residence. And their home is their motorcycle. Unless you understand this, in the evening, you see them cluster together. That is when they close for the day. That is where they will sleep. And usually not far from there is where they will, in the following morning, will take their bath and ready for the next day. You can look at this, and I can give you several other locations. And when you engage them, why are you doing this? You cannot do this. They tell you organic talk that they cannot afford it. Not that they cannot afford it if it is broken down, but they cannot afford it as government requires. Now it comes with the challenge of safety and security. And they are ready to dispatch or to carry any document. It doesn't matter whether it is safe, whether it is right, whether it is secure, whether it is criminal. They will do it. So please consider opening up the space. We are proposing that you look into that. We want you to extract access to financing for us. And this is something that at the level of government can just tick in the box and it will happen. And you will see the number, you will be shocked at the number of our people in the logistics and courier space. You will have helped operators, to get riders that will work with them the next 5 years. Our riders are harlots, that is what they are. They work for you 1 month, 2 months, they are gone. We cannot regulate it if you don't sit down with us. 2 years ago, you may look at your file of my proposal suggesting all of these things. That every rider must be registered, which you are trying to. But the number that you have or that you are trying to get, it's so infinitesimal. So that the issue of moving around, will also stop. So if you are sacked or you leave your employer, the next employer looking for employee will not just pick you. Because already you've been captured in the database. These are part of the problems we So what are we doing? What are we doing here today? We are suggesting a road that we think through CLMI, our Papa will look at it. And that at the thought they laugh, they pepper me, because this is about me. They laugh, it's like, say your beat. You say your beat. But I know you can do it. Is that first and foremost, we will work with you. You will invite us. Let us have a regulatory impact assessment of what CLR has done since the establishment or creation of micro, small, and medium subsector. Let us have that. Let us. So you will also know whether yes, I'm moving in the right direction and we have covered this, percentage of growth. Let's have that, impact assessment. Everything you expect us to do. Those of us that have even complied, how has it impacted us? How many of us are still around? How many of us have been frustrated, not by you, but by circumstantial reasons, environmental causes. So in making a case for us, it will also be handy to say the last 4 years, this is the number we have registered. We conducted a survey on what they are doing. This is the percentage that are still in business. This is the percentage that are there. And you can also accost us if we come to say, we're asking for everything we are giving it to you, exactly what it is. And there will forever be problems that will always be coming to act on. The second thing we are proposing, part of the roadmap, is stakeholders engagement. Not just with you, but all other government agencies. If anyone asks me, I know what the department is doing. I'm proud of what your department is doing. I sometimes wonder how you get things done, because I also know that in terms of government appropriation, you are probably at the bottom rung of the ladder and they don't remember it. Like all regulators are not remembered. So on behalf of our membership, I want to thank CLI, but then it takes so much. And I try to put timeline. The first one I said in about 6 months. That is the impact assessment. The stakeholders engagement is like 2 months. What we are doing today, I want to believe is a result of PM meet with investors. Where we all want. And those are the things we want. You can use CLMI, as the vehicle to reach out to us. But there must be the engagement, and it will also help you in telling us this is how far we have gone. On your behalf, this is what we are doing, because we are also experiencing some of the pinches in the shoes which we are wearing. The policy reform, we expect that you can do that between now and the end of the year, so that 2025 will also avail us, and it will also be as a result of the regulatory impact assessments of how far we have gone, and for you to tweak, the policy. Again, capacity building. There is so much for you to help us. It is not just about the driving school. which you ask the riders to do, but so much more. For instance, when you see a dispatch rider working with DHL, from afar, you will know this is a professional. But 95% of my members, some of them will be in, rubber slippers, all sorts of things. Some of my riders will use one hand to accelerate and the other hand to speak, wanting to know location. I got something from Rwanda, Kigali, that all their operators have like, a holster where they put their telephone, and it helps them to navigate. But today, you will see good riders stop using his phone or looking at, the location. But most of my riders, like the one I say, like a part of them, you'll see them with one hand on the phone, with the other hand. You need to help us in building capacity, not just for us as owners of businesses, but also for our employees, both in the office and the ones on the field. And the most important one is monitoring and evaluation. I think that line says 6 months to develop a full-fledged section that is not looking at who will give you regular and routine reports on how the field is and help you to look at what can be and appropriately correct us or correct us. I thank you very much.
Wow, wow, wow. That was an amazing session. Please, can we put our hands again together? Honorable, you don't cut an honorable short when he's speaking, right? So Honorable had a lot to give to us, and we really appreciate you, sir. That was an in-depth speech you gave, and I would honestly believe that this is the appropriate platform to express all of this. And rightly put, Honorable said that the CLRD is the father figure in all of this. So, Prof was the founding head of CLRD. So it is very close to our heart here at CLMI. And because Prof founded this unit, we believe that we are an integral part of this unit. We will do what we can to bring both the regulators and the operators to the same page and to make this industry what it really should be. Honorable said something that hits the nail on the head for us at CLMI: training. Honestly, if you're an operator in this field and you do not yet have a certificate from CLMI, I would say that this is your opportunity to do that and to get your team on board. It's always amazing when we have a courier company come here for trainings. The staff go back with a whole lot because now they have a deeper and in-depth understanding of what exactly they are doing. So it's beyond the movement of goods and services. It is also value that you bring to your job. The Honorable said something about the people on the streets not recognizing the value of what they carry. When you come for trainings like this, you even know how to price right. Because why do I want to give a sensitive document like COO to somebody on the street that doesn't know the value of what he's carrying because he's charging 1,500? And I have another courier person that is saying, or a logistics person that is saying, this document will cost you 10,000. At the end of the day, really, if there's a problem with that document, if rain falls and that document is wet, then the true value of what the operation is about to come forth. So I believe for the courier operators as well, it is very important for the team to have an idea, a broad, in-depth idea of the value that they bring to the economy. So CLMI is available, and like we always say, we have a soft spot for courier. So trust us, we'll give you excellent training and very good services and very good pricing as well. So please, before you leave today, give us the list of your staff that you want to come. We have a discount package for large number of staff as well. So if you have training for your team. Thank you very much. We'd like to, let's put our hands together. Honorable gave a very powerful one. So we'd like to recognize the presence of Buba Nehemiah. He's the president of NUPTE. He's online currently. And we also appreciate the presence of Deliman Logistics MD and CEO, Mr. Dare Ojobello. Mr. Dare will also be speaking to us today. I will indulge all our panelists to give us at least 10 minutes, because we also have a session where you can still contribute and add more. At most, sorry, 10 minutes. Thank you very much, sir. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Brown.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. And I will also stand on the existing protocols. Let me just start by saying, Prof, thank you very much. We can't thank you enough. Honorable Fuad, meeting you for the first time in person, but we've spoken on the phone. Thank you so very much for what you're doing for the informal sector as well. It will be difficult for me to share my thoughts around the topic that brought all of us here without duplicating some of the things my father said, because he practically just covered every area. And if you had more time, I'm sure that you will, you share more thoughts. But I'm going to speak from the side of operator. Deliman is an operator within 4 years, and with tech in a logistics platform, in marketplace, aggregating logistic assets, partners, and doing what is always called matchmaking in the marketplace to bring requesters of logistic services, and match them with providers of those services, and using technology to target, customers' pickup locations, by identifying riders that are proximally located to those pickup locations. The whole idea is to create efficiency and then break down all of those barriers that has caused the consumers, finally, final consumers, to lose trust, because this business is about speed, but it's also about trust. So I'm going to speak more around, the concerns that, an operator will have, and how regulators can help us. Let me start by saying, for me, the starting point would be our regulator helping to create long-term value for all stakeholders. This is very important. Right? When I say stakeholders here, I'm referring to government, the operators, the regulators, the investors, and the customers. In this ecosystem, everybody must receive value. And I think this is very important. Otherwise, there is no business being in the business of logistics and courier services if you're a stakeholder, you're not getting the value. And I think that the part of this ecosystem that can provide leadership, in creating, fostering, and even sustaining long-term value are our regulators. So I speak first to the regulators from that perspective of creating long-term value. There are a few things that, I will also speak to. Creating long-term value will mean enabling the growth of indigenous and independent operators. We're still very young. There was a time that it was just the incumbents, the likes of DHL, FedEx, because these are international companies, and maybe when they started operating in Nigeria, they leveraged their capacity, industry knowledge, customer base even, from those other clients they were coming from. And so they could thrive in our environment. It's not the same when you're looking or talking about the incumbents and the indigenous operators. We're still struggling with capacity. Honorable Fuad has spoken a lot about that. So indigenous companies and independent operators need the support that can help them grow as well. Sometimes, and I'm sorry, I want to stay reasonably within the time. Sometimes we have this argument that how can you assure me that my package will get delivered just because I am not an incumbent? And the reply I usually will give is, I have a license, a national license, and I stay within my space. And if there is an incumbent that has that same national license, why would you think that we will not provide the same service? Why would you trust, a foreign company, but will not trust a Delhi man who holds the same license? And the reason why it's important is that the regulator needs to call out these levels of licensing and make it very clear that there are no superior national license and inferior national license. I'm using that as an example. And it goes back to the fact that the regulator are assuring even the public, the consumers, that they have done the due diligence. And if a dairy man is issued with a national license, it's as good as the foreign company who holds that same license. So this is very important for us so that the public don't perceive us as incapable or probably offering inferior. Yes. We cannot be inferior if we have, unless we bought our licenses, unless they were just given to us. And I know that the regulators, our regulator will take this very seriously. But let me just go quickly because of time. There are some critical areas that I think that the regulator can help. A strong regulator with adequate resources to carry out its functions. For me, it is about more public enlightenment and engagement as well as enforcing compliance. I know, NIPOST and CLRD are going through reforms, and I'm hoping that we'll get to a point where they become even more autonomous. They can fund, their operations. This area of enforcement, I think it starts with even public enlightenment. So how much does the public know about the why of a regulator trying to police us, trying to guide us? I think what said, is it about bringing us into the net or about generating revenue? And I think it's very important. You see, if you look at the entire value chain, today, an average delivery from the time the customer books an order to the point when the package is delivered, you will see that we're struggling with capacity. We are struggling to meet, service level agreements. Basic things, simple things like on-time deliveries, we're not able to offer them. Why? Because sometimes it is about not having enough capacity, but also it may be because of the way we are able to access the capacities that are available. So let me just, touch on that. The riders that Fuad has spoken well about, these guys are so informal that they are not captured into any database. They are not trained. Most of them come to Lagos because they are either seeking for security because of the challenges in the north, and some of them are just coming for survival. So when they come, the first option that they have is a blue-collar job that does not require me to demonstrate that I have the right, educational qualification. And riding, it was almost like there's no big deal about riding, but we know there's a big deal about riding, especially when it is riding for delivery services. So we do have situations in our hands where even though in terms of numbers, we seem to have a lot of riders in the space today, but they may not be the right riders for the job. And regulators will be, you'll be surprised that regulators will have a role, to play. There are some trainings that are going on that have, taken place in the past. But if you ask me, the best people to train these riders will be first their employers, right? And we can continue the conversation around that. Number two will be to turn existing night post infrastructure into delivery hubs. Again, I've heard that in this meeting. Because what that does is that, a dairyman is setting up fulfillment centers all over the place. It's very expensive. On the average, it will cost us about 10 million naira to set up a fulfillment center that can receive orders for drop-offs, process the orders, aggregate, and then sort packages along, routes, so that riders can optimize the use of the assets. But I don't need to set up this infrastructure because that already has them. If I was in Ikosi, and somewhere in the market, right inside the market, I wanted to retrieve a package that was sent from overseas, and I could not believe that there was a night post office tucked inside the market. And it was not just a roadside, it's a full-fledged facility. The point is, to what extent is it fully utilized? If I had a small desk there, that might just be my drop-off center. That might just be a drop-off center. So again, this is about turning existing infrastructure into delivery hubs. I said pretty much similar to what a NACO or SACO is doing for intra-city, for international deliveries. So let's create something similar, where we have massive infrastructure and the industry players can utilize them for everything that they make us create value. Sectoral funding. I think our industry is the only industry that has not been able to access funds from BOI. It's very unfortunate because this is the industry that powers the growth of a very, very significant and important sector. In 2019, McKinsey reported that the revenue from e-commerce in Nigeria in 2019 was about $25 billion. At the beginning of the pandemic, projections were made that by 2025, that figure will go to 75 billion. That means without the impact of COVID, which forced everybody to start to use delivery services. I'm sure that that figure has gone over 100 billion. Now, for such $100 billion, for such a sensitive sector, why would new upcoming logistic businesses and the staff that they have and the resources they have, why would we not be funded? That's why I call it sectoral funding. And the funding can be in several ways. I think Honorable talked about a hub in Abuja, for fashion, and those are the kind of things that, we need to do. That regulators have to help us, to push, a BOI, an agency of government, to say, let's create, these hubs, and then let's financially support young, vibrant businesses that we can even call our own. Somebody challenged me in one of the meetings and he said, we are multinationals, right? And I said, yes, but the definition of multinational is any business that has an office in a country outside its own country. So that means that if I go to Ghana as a dairyman, I become a multinational. Don't harass me with this, we are a multinational. Right? And those are the kind of sentiments. They try to put us down, and I'm saying, help us to access the funding. Honorable said, we are ready. And I think that if you tell us that it's possible today, we'll go put our house in order so that we can meet those requirements, that the facilitators of these investments will demand of us. The other point is for us to deliver, we lose a lot of time trying to locate addresses. I think we talked about riders, and that's because we don't have proper street addressing. So we need a national street addressing system. And I think it's very critical. We use Google Map. It comes with a cost. The API, not free, right? And even at that, riders, learning curve is not that great. So you still see, and some of them are even trying to save data.
Yeah.
So they will not turn on their data, and so they miss out the opportunity of using the app. I think that if the roads are clearly marked, and we have such, in fact, Google takes you to a place. If you don't know that place, you'll be in the wrong place. Right? So we can't rely on an external technology. I think National Street Addressing System is something that will take the guesswork out of locating pickup and delivery locations. I think we've talked about collaboration with state and national agencies. It's looking like it's a fight and it's a war over revenue. For several months in a state in Nigeria, logistics was shut down. Even our regulator could not intervene because the government of that state and the way the laws are written empowers a state to be able to apply policy that is even in conflict with the national. So even though you have a license from a NIPOS to operate nationally, it is at the prerogative of the state to decide whether you can actually operate. And those kind of conflicts, they stop businesses, they affect progress, and I think these are some of the things that we should deal with. Partnership with local operators. There's no economy without movement, so we need, I think the regulator, there's a lot of, changes that we have heard from that last session with the PMG, but I also think that we need partnership with local operators because NIPOS alone will not be able to do it. In my view, security is still a very, very serious issue, right? Apart from the fact that riders can pose security threats, but we also know that packages can be lost, and that increases trust. We are in a low trust environment, and I think it's very important that we all help ourselves so that a customer knows that when I use a delivery service, the package will be picked and it will be delivered promptly, and it will actually be delivered. Today, that trust level is very, very low, and that's because there is no central database of riders that we can access. I was in a session at the NIPOS office, and I said, imagine a situation where we begin to operate like NIBSS, Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, where every bank is using one API service or other. And then there's a central settlement for everybody. Imagine if we had a central database and I wanted to find out if a rider is properly profiled and that security checks have been done. And I just make an API call, to that database. And it tells me that, okay, this is the employment history of this rider. These are the challenges, these are the, bad reports from previous employment. Then I'll be well guided. So we need a repository of the records of riders, and not just riders, customers themselves. Right? We blacklist customers on our platform today. Some of them are just coming there to steal. Some of them are scamming. Some of them are carrying drugs. As an operator that has signed, with a promise to, provide the data that is required if something goes wrong, right? So we make sure that our waybills, which are electronically generated, helps us to be able to identify where there's a problem, which customer is involved. So I'm just saying that such a database as well. As customers come on our platform, we can centrally, how will a bank be able to go after perpetrators if there was no central database of customers that is even accessible, right? Especially when something goes wrong and you have a court order to be able to call, those information. They have no choice; they have to provide them. So I know that because we are running against time, I won't be able to speak as much as Honorable, and I thank Honorable for speaking on our behalf. Let me just close with this last comment, and that's the fact that these riders because he spoke more about the riders in the informal sector. For me, what long-term value are we going to this group of workers? They are blue-collar jobs, right? A lot of them just come because they feel that delivery is a temporary thing. I just need it to survive. But the truth is that a career can be built around it. Okay, I've been in certain stakeholder meetings with Lagos State Employment Trust, and one of the things they are trying to promote is this informal, jobs, informal workers. How can you elevate their role, their importance into the consciousness of the minds of the employers that engage them, right? So how would, for example, a rider be perceived as very critical to the service that is provided, such that he's well remunerated for the service that he's providing, and then he's encouraged to be able to stay in that job long term. What we have today is that riders come and go, some of them, if you're very lucky, within 1 month or 3 months. So I'm just saying that how can the regulator, and I don't know whether this sits with regulators now, or is something we have to do together as operators, how can we have a curriculum, right, that clearly speaks to the fact that these employees, this group of workers, are very critical to the success of our industry? And if that's the case, right, can I finish from a technical school? Can I come out from a university and I start my role as a rider? Well, riding is not the bike itself, it's the entire service of logistics. Will I be trained, right, on how to manage customers? Will I be trained in the areas of packaging, timeliness? There's a lot in there. And in terms of career growth, can I start as a rider and then eventually become a senior rider, assistant logistic officer, logistic manager, transport coordinator? There has to be a clear career path, and somebody has to draw that curriculum so that somehow we begin to see these riders with a different, perspective. And I think only then, because for me, the most critical aspect of our business are the riders who actually, go on the street to deliver the job. How can they get more value, like I started? How can we make them feel that this is as what their while as even going to pursue, a white-collar job? And if we are able to get to that point, in my view, that will create more interest in the industry, build more capacity for us, help us to be able to reach or meet those SLAs with our clients. And what it does to the entire ecosystem is that with enough capacity, even this low pricing that cutting down or undercutting market prices will be something that will naturally just disappear. There will be enough jobs, there will be enough capacity to execute the jobs, and then the pricing will become more competitive. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. That was quite explanatory. So Mr. Dario Ojo below gave us a huge breakdown of what can happen if we digitalize things here in Nigeria. I mean, as you were speaking, I was imagining such a thing where you can actually log online and see the database of people. I think it will really make business easier. Wouldn't you agree with me? So this is an amazing one. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for explaining to us what happens when the ecosystem all gets unified that way. Thank you, sir. So we'll also be hearing from Mr. Buba Nehemiah. He's online. Mr. Buba, it's your time now. Please, you can unmute your mic and give your presentation. Mr. Buba, you have 10 minutes, sir. Hello, sir. You can come on now. Mr. Buba is the president of NUPTE.
Yes,
NUPTE is the National Union of Post and Telecommunications employee. Mr. Buba, you can unmute your mic and speak now.
Yeah, Ronald is coming back.
Yes, we have
He's
network.
having issues connecting.
So we have quite some questions, and you can send in your questions to the chat bot. For people present here, we have little sheets of paper. You can write down your questions. We already have some questions here which we will ask, and then we'll get answers from both the operator and the regulatory.
Yeah,
I'll read out the questions after the chat. Mr. Buba, are you ready for us, sir? I think we'll go on, and then Mr. Buba will join us later. Will join us later. So like we said earlier on, this is a forum to bring both the operators and the regulatory body to one table to make things work. I mean, if we can have this kind of, from what Honorable said, the operators are ready to make NIPOS burst forth with the kind of revenue that we desire to make, and particularly the CRLD department, considering the kind of business the operators have identified. The whole idea is not to be at loggerheads, but to bring us both to a forum where we can make things work. So part of the things we'd like to discuss today are part of the questions that came in. Why are there many operators not renewing their licenses? Have we answered that question during the conversation? Why are many operators not renewing their licenses?
Please, the question, sir, before we go.
The question is, why are many operators not renewing their licenses? Will anybody in the panel like to answer that question for us?
The regulator or us?
Okay, so the
Both.
question is online. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's like in America. I have alluded to this earlier on. The operator is children here. Is ready to follow all regulations, all obligations. But it feels that there are some people out there that are not registering and nothing is happening to them. So why should I renew my license once I can also go scot-free? So now the question is our regulator doing well? Yes. What is the issue? It is exactly what I said and what my brother said. We need to sit down and deal with the regulator. But it will help if the regulator on its own would first conduct an impact assessment of how far we have come. What are the challenges? So together, we will now say from our point, from our angle, this is why it is so. Then we then look at how to calibrate all of these gamut of resentment or apprehension. So it is not that the regulator is not doing it. It is just that if I'm charging premium costs because I also have insurance for what I'm doing. So whoever patronizes me is confident that his documents or products is safe. And somebody somewhere, it's just, he doesn't have an office, he's not having any cost whatsoever in running the business. And he's getting scot-free. So what is in there for me to do? So it's something that we all need to sit down. It's not so much about the regulator. It's so much about understanding what the challenges are for all of us.
Thank you very much. I totally agree. I don't think it's something that the regulator alone can do. I'll give you a few examples. Today, we know that some operators will sell to partners. Some of these partners to go and take their license. They are looking for partnership with operators that are already licensed, that are committed to renewal. So what then happens is these guys, and it's deliberate, right? That's how they make money off these smaller SMEs that are not willing or not even able to pay for licensing. And that's why I think that, I mean, if CLRD sees a deli man bike on the road, deli man is licensed, but that bike is operated by an SME that does not want to be licensed, but wants to ride on the license of a deli man. And if deli man has collected money and issued, so we're basically defrauding, right, the regulators, and we're making even enforcement difficult, because you can never, unless you have the resources to stop everybody. Once you see a deli man, brand, you know deli man is in compliance. But my point is, some operators, maybe not all, definitely, are helping those who don't want to pay, to be able to go scot-free. So that's the first thing. The second reason why I think, in my view, that even those who are supposed to be operators will not come and pay the license is because, so what we have seen, the moment you open the hedge and you allow individual riders to get some semblance of a license in whatever name it is called, then that means that if I'm an operator and I don't want to pay my usual license, my rider, one or two of them, will be issued permits, which is something that I don't know if it still exists today, but there was a time it was a big issue. So my rider can go individually and get a permit and start to operate, and if that permit is recognized and is usually for a small amount, then there will be no reason, to say, let me take a license. And so we need to, there's nothing in the act today that allows a rider to independently begin to operate as an operator. The company has to be registered with the CAC. Due diligence will be carried out by the CLRD, and only then will they be approved and of course a complement of their license. So we need to make it more difficult for this individual, I think we usually call them, what do we call them? No, it's not come and carry. I mean, these solo riders, right? We call them solo riders. They're all over the place. They want to be independent. They don't want to work for any company, but they are not paying license. Of course, they won't come and pay 250,000 because they're individual riders. So how do we bring them into the net? We need to think through that and continue the conversation that NIPO started a few years ago, just to make sure that these guys can operate under a register and a license and an operator that is very current and up to date with their licensing. I think this will secure the revenue for the regulators, but it also means that the operators themselves can play according to the rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Thank you for your answer. Yes, I have another different opinion. Being in the system, what we see every day. Some of these operators that come into the space, they don't do their due diligence, what they actually come into the space. So they don't know whether they'll be able to withstand the challenges, and they don't actually do their homework. Well, that is what I think. For example, I, as an operator, comes into the space. I came into the space because I have a business to put out, for example. Maybe I have somebody that opens restaurants, different state in Nigeria, and I come and we agree that we're going to do deliveries for that person, for example. Now, if the person opens in Lagos, I will follow the person to Lagos. If the person opens in Kaduna, for example, I will follow the person to Kaduna. Now, once that business goes down, automatically, I don't really have anything to hold on to. So we find out that they will now maybe hold back, they won't be able to continue with the business. I have a classical example of people like that. Then another reason is the issue of the rider. This is a general issue. This is a general problem, sorry. And we, the regulators, are aware of it. So people will tell you that I've been working for the past 6 months. I don't have a rider. They come to the office to even ask you if you can help them get a rider. Will the regulator give you a license or permit to operate and also provide you with a rider? Let's be sincere with ourselves. So some of them are not able to stand because they don't really, maybe they're not able to sustain their riders, or they don't really know what it takes to actually maintain this business. Then another reason is that you find out that some of them just decide to change business. I just decided to try it because other people are trying it and they're actually doing well. You don't know why this other person is trying it, but you want to also try and see if you can try in that business. So we have this issue. So we can't blame the regulator for that. There are some of them that will actually suspend their license. Like yesterday, I had an operator that came into my office, the CEO came into my office and said, she suspended her license in 2021. You know, once you suspend your license, automatically your company's name cannot be on our platform. That is to say, if somebody is trying to see who they can actually engage, you won't see your company on our platform. So she just realized that she wants to go back to the. She came into my office and before. This is a license she suspended. So this problem is not a problem of the regulator. I don't think it's the amount for renewal, because even the amount for renewal, if you look at it, for me, it's fair enough, not so much. For the SMEs, you come in with 250,000. The renewal fee is just about 100,000, 2,500 naira only. So it's the problem of being able to sustain the business. They didn't actually do a research to see what it actually entails, what the challenges are going to be, and how they are going to sustain it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that explanation. So the question was, why are many operators not renewing their license? So we have contributions from the audience. 2 minutes, please.
Let me use that.
2 minutes, please. Contributions from the audience. Your name, the name of your company, and where you're located.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Peter Afam, and the name of our company is Quantum Commerce and Retail Systems. I want to thank all of the speakers, Honorable Fuad, Mr. Deliman, I don't know your name, but I'll call you Mr. Deliman, and our regulator. I also want to thank the, there's a lot that's going on in the industry, and so much has been said. All I would like to contribute here is that the first step that we need to take is to create that database. Everything else will be a waste of time. If you don't know the licensed operators, you don't know operators whose licenses are active, suspended, revoked. We don't know anything. Today, data is the currency of business. Without it, we're wasting our time. Digitalization must happen. Everyone operating in the sector, whether they belong to school or not, must be registered. Whether you are a solo rider, that registration is not a license. What that registration gives you access to is visibility. You are known by the operator. And next to that is that you cannot take that registration and present it to a licensed operator, because the law says you cannot operate in this industry without a license. Deliman is aggregating assets, but Deliman also needs to know who they are onboarding. Security, identification, these are the realities of our time. We cannot run away from it. This is the first thing that needs to happen. It's not about the licensing fee. The industry is big enough to sustain itself. The regulator is currently hamstrung because of some of the challenges that have been highlighted. So we need to work together. This is not just about the regulator or about the operators. Mr. Detman said something, creation of long-term value. Nobody wants to pay for something that they're not extracting value from. So we need to focus on achieving that, create a clean database of all the stakeholders in the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very good. So the database, creating a database of the licensed company is very important. I think that's a very good takeaway from this. The second question is, why are the operators paying a percentage of their license fee as another charge to be paid to the regulator? Why are the operators paying a percentage of their license fee as another charge to be paid to the regulator? 2 minutes, please. Regulator would like to respond to that.
Okay. Honestly, I didn't understand the question. Maybe the person
So they are
actually
asking
explained
what for renewal fees, why is a percentage of this renewal fee paid directly to the regulator?
a percentage of the renewal fee.
Percentage.
That is if the person is talking about renewal fee, that is what the regulation says. You have to renew. And there's a fee for that renewal. So that is what you pay to the regulator. So I don't know why it's just like now, okay, I have my driver's license. It's going to expire someday, and I have to renew. So without renewing, it's automatically invalid. So you have to pay, because that is what the regulation says. You have to renew your license after 12 months.
I think what person might say, beyond renewal, I think they talked about 50% of what.
For penalties, okay, for penalty, when you need to pay 12.5%, that is when you're actually renewing late. The regulation says we are for example, now I'm supposed to renew my license in January, for example, and I don't do that this year. I wait until next year and I want to renew my license for this year. I have to pay, the regulation says I have to pay 12.5% of the renewal fee. So that is what the regulation says, and that is what is applicable.
Sorry,
Thank you.
just one thing.
Yes, please.
So just to the context, I think generally, even regarding the CFRD and the way we are regulated, when you want to do renewal, okay, before you got the license, there was a visitation, an assessment, and I mean, there are costs that are running, and then they put together your license. When you want to renew as well, I think maybe what this person is asking, because the person has not been subjected to the diligent work that is required for renewal. If NIPOS tells you that before we renew you, we'll come back again and carry out an assessment to be sure that you have been in compliance with the terms of the license that was issued, and to be able to assess where you are now, then you will know that indeed there is a cost. I paid for renewal. our madam said to me, said, go, it's not the payment alone, go and complete the forms for renewal. And trust me, that is really where the work is. It's not even the payment. Then you will now realize that there is a reason. They need information, they need document, they need your business plan. And there might even be visitations to your office to check whether you still exist as a business. That is what this renewal cost will cover. So it's not a dash to the regulator. It's the cost of helping us to make sure that the licenses that are being renewed are not just renewed on the basis of money paid, but that certain activities that will demand that money is spent actually carried out.
Thank you so much, sir. So we'll go to we have some online comments. Would like to think that the annual renewal charge is high compared to CAC yearly renewal. So this is a comment from Fair Express Shangotedo. They are saying that they think that the annual renewal fee is high. We have a lot of comments from you. The cost of licensing is too high and needs to be reviewed if the regulators actually want to support logistics and courier business to thrive in Nigeria. So these are our online comments. We have some.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Sorry,
the same comments.
I mean, thank you very much. The reality today is that the exchange rate in Nigeria is 1,600 naira to the dollar. The bulk of what we consume in our country happens to be imported goods. The cost of doing business in Nigeria is very high. But when you want to talk about the regulations, please, I find it ridiculous that an international operator who pays 20 million for licensing is paying 2 million for renewal. It is completely ridiculous. It should be more. It's ridiculous. Because if you convert the renewal cost to US dollars, it's pennies. DHL generates billions of naira in Nigeria. DHL, to continue to do business, is paying 1.something million to the regulator. It is out of sync with the realities of today. Paying 102,000 as an SME for 365 days of doing business. Break it down. 365 days. If my arithmetic serves me well, 100,000 divided by 365 days is probably less than 1,000 naira per day. Let's be honest with ourselves. I'm a Nigerian. When people talk about cost, this regulator struggles. If you go to look at the NIPO's budget for 2024, over 74 billion naira was appropriated. Only 70 million naira was appropriated for capital expenditure. 74 billion is what people spend on recurrent. Last year, the whole money made by NIPOS industry-wide was 3 billion naira. The whole of NIPOS. The whole of NIPOS. How do we expect the regulator to survive? We need to come to terms with this reality. So when people speak, they should speak with facts, and it's not profits we're even talking about. Postal services, a part of it is social. So NIPOS as the postal service operator does not need to make money from delivering letters, and it's universal access. But regulation, enforcement costs money. TLRD has 2 vehicles. The whole of Nigeria. How are you going to police people?
Whole of Nigeria.
The whole of Nigeria. TLRD headquarters. I mean, Mrs. Joga is here.
I remember when Prof said that but using his car.
So this is the reality. We cannot play ostrich. These are real problems. The regulator has challenges. Operators also have their own challenges. We just need to find consensus. Regulation versus revenue. A balance must be achieved, and that balance is really very delicate. I love the fact about youth empowerment. I love the fact about creating a career path. Because when you talk about a rider, the rider or a driver sees himself as an Okada man. You are not. You are a professional. Because you have chosen that line of profession. A policeman is a professional. So people need, of course, the regulator needs to do a lot to attach esteem to that profession. And that was what my 2 brothers spoke to. CLMI is CLMI. It's a good initiative. People should be properly trained. Let them stop seeing themselves as just riders. I'm just riding a bike. You could be carrying, if it is medical samples you are carrying, you could be carrying something that can save someone's life. If it's blood, for example. If you are carrying the example of CO, and you don't handle it properly, it can put somebody's life in complete jeopardy. It can wreck somebody's life. So this industry is so critical to the growth and progress of our economy, and attention must be paid to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We have less than an hour to conclude this meeting, so we'll take it very fast from here. Thank you, sir. So the next question is, what is NIPOS doing to protect our interest in the public for unfair arrest by the police? Can NIPOS liaise with the government to know the total number of papers we are expected to have for our riders? What phone numbers can we call if we are unfairly arrested by the police? This is from Laudable Express, Mr. Kolabe.
You have another one. Yes. So, NIPOS has been doing a lot. For example, here in Lagos, we have been able to have meetings with stakeholders in Lagos State. Ministry of Transportation, the local government, with the VIS, and been able to meet with them to understand the basic requirements from their own end. Now, you agree with me that NIPOS is federal, and so we have federal laws as well as state laws. For example, we cannot stop Ministry of Transportation from doing their own task in Lagos State. Local government has nothing to do with courier and logistics, but we find out that a lot of this harassment comes from touts, not even the Ministry of Transportation. The Ministry of Transportation has said they don't do that. It comes from touts that are actually using loopholes. Maybe your riders, they don't even know their rights. They don't know what to ask them for when they stop them. They just feel that anybody that stops them on the road is NIPOS automatically. Now, we have phone numbers that you can reach out to. We have phone numbers that have been provided by the Ministry of Transport. We have a unit in Courier and Logistics Regulatory Department that can handle such complaints, and it's exit complaints and preparation. And the head is actually here. His name is Mr. Hans Moridi. If you reach out to him at any time that you are being stopped by this task, he will be able to assist in any to anybody. There are times when his unit actually reach out to where your location, wherever your rider is, to actually face this town. And he also collaborates with representatives from the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation to ensure that this house will succeed. So you can actually reach out to us through him. There's his phone number, a phone number will be provided for that. We have phone numbers.
Before we end this meeting.
Yes, before we end this meeting, a phone number will be provided for that unit and also Ministry of Transportation. They've given us a number that you can easily reach out when you are faced with problems like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we can run, can you stand up for recognition, sir? Thank you very much. Give your name, the name of your unit. Well, sir.
Thank you.
I'm not going to say what it was. Things general ethics, company strategy. Before I go into that, there is one or two things I want to say. Is it like you guys just said something? Everybody's destined to it. This huge work we are doing, city moves business and technology. Is the pioneer GM of Courier and Logistics Corporation. No money is provided for the LRD online course to do what we are doing. It is the responsibility of us even to the books without changing their form. That is what we are struggling with. But even at that, I believe we are doing exceedingly well. I mean, Miriam Yogai, has enumerated some of those things, but I wanted to take the problem as one key. Very good. There was a blanket ban on Canada's in Lagos. Blanket ban, nobody, including Korea, in this negotiation. The LRD made the Ministry of, Commissioner for it bans all access in Rivers, including Korea. The general manager, John J. Gideon, went to Rivers State. Then the Ministry of Transport, and at the end of the day, Korea and the stick operators were on ban. Today they are operating. And last year, I went there and the head of the Canada, I went there operation for Canada on legal operators. So today they are working. Then, continuing of talking of the yes, in this industry, there are not key orders, and digital ethics for business strategy. Every day, complete come. We are complete against their operator and their staff against Korea. We are complete against companies. And we have been handling them. For us, we don't because we want to make our system. We are inviting ICT experts. That's one of the key questions we have. Expert in this system. This is what there are serious industrial disputes. Industrial disputes in this system. Any information section. You don't need to put money. We are probably that. So that's it. For calling me, Dr. Said, in this industry, when we met the House of Assembly, yes, and we were made to understand that, as John has rightly put it, that local government also have business in this business. But today, yes, when they come and grow that they don't have business in this business. This business is just in 2 layers. The state government, because this business, any state that you are operating, you have motors, you have your vehicles, your Okada, you have to apply to road, for example, Lagos. So talks like vehicles, you are taking license for your vehicle, you have to take license for your Okada. And you want to your 200cc and you want to use it in operating. You have to go to Ministry of Transport. They give you motorization. That's one aspect. Then the business itself. The Courier business is being regulated by 9 to 7. These are the 2 areas of regulation. The local government doesn't have this. So each time, and we have met even Algon, all local government chairmen, we have meetings, meeting with them. They made us to understand that all those people we have seen on the road, they are not understanding. All the chairmen said are not doing it. So we are only we have numbers, we have that relationship, collaboration with Minister of Transport. There is their enforcement team, their phone number, my phone number. Each time you come for the auction, that's what we have these numbers. Call. Then we have that collaboration with the federal criminal investigation department and sexual department. You go out there. So situations like that, when you should call, you know what to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good explanation. Okay, sir, please, you write your number, you give it to our staff, so people can rest. We won't have to crowd you after the meeting because you're a very important factor in this. So now we understand that it's a state thing. We don't need to talk for any local government friendly. That's all it is.
I want to address my brother. There is need for us, like the scripture says, that no, before worship, you need to do more than what you are doing. Those you met in the House of Assembly and the director that you are meeting with in the Ministry of Transport. And I have told them this. My name is Warwick. They told you that they are liars. The day you met with Alcon president, that same evening, I met with him on something else. So he told me they have met with you, this. So I asked him that you are wearing a crack which is national. So don't look at Lagos issue. Let us sit down and talk about national. I said, I don't, and this is what I told you. Is quoting, my name is Andrew. The guys you are calling touts are not touts. And it's better you know it. They are employees of those that have been contracted by local government as revenue consultants. The RTEAN, the NURTW, the NARTO, they are consultants. They are given specific amount to be paid. And I'm also in the system. Today, no employee of local government at the end of department level that have not been my staff as a commissioner. And that's why when they stop our riders, I'll just ask each local government to drop. And I'll call the council manager or the council treasurer. That's what my people done. But I am begging you. They don't offend me, and I'm offended. I'm trying to let you know, sir, is this. They will forever tell like that they don't know those boys. Oh. Because every Friday, they must pay by the arrangements which they have with the local government now. Unfortunately, the local government don't have P-base. So they will all complain about MCO, this, that. We should be praying for them. You know why? Even the state government issued out revenue tickets. They do not have a database of how many commercial vehicles are operating in Lagos. Other than, okay, we've collapsed all the various charges together. So you have to pay 850 naira on this, then 250 naira on this, making 1,100 naira. Just go and collect it, whichever way, anyway, however. So for those boys to meet the target, the boys you are calling them the touts have a daily target and almost meet. All right. And in the event that it doesn't meet up, it's not going to be there tomorrow. So he must stop anything as far as they are concerned. Courier logistics rider must pay higher than what Okada paid. As far as they are concerned, it is a big business. But what we are saying, sir, is this. Let us sit down together. While we don't count book, we count street sense. And we will bring the street sense to what you are doing. But we still need to go back. I'm disagreeing with my brother, but I know where it's coming from. If we make it so cheap, you look at the number, let everybody come see first. Because when they come in, they will not want to go out. Whatever we are paying today, times that 250 by the number, and you do the arithmetic through your own service knowledge of the business. I'm saying in Lagos, we can bring 50,000 in. If it is cover, 50,000, or let's say 30,000 out of it, cover, it is much bigger than 250. And that's what I'm saying. Let us look for a way to bring everybody into the net first. We now begin the necessary diligence, which will also give us that P-base, which we'll need to drive whatever we want to do. But director, sir, you still need to go back and speak to those people and mention my name. They all have my number, or you can tell them to call me while you are there, and I will tell them what I keep telling them. We must look for a way to get the local government. And we have passed the stage of wanting to beg. That is what CLRB should do. It's a direct letter to the governor of that state, who will now copy each local government that we are ready to go to court to tell them.
Very good.
24 of the Constitution is very clear on what they can do.
Yes.
Very clear on what they can do. We've appealed them, we've begged them. So the next thing is for us, let us do this, let us go headlong. If you promise to lead us, I promise we go stay behind you. When you talk to them, we go look them like this, they will see us say, that's fine. And that's the way to go.
Yeah.
It is not the fault of those on the field. Rather, it's the local government. You know why the local government on Friday evening by 3, latest 4, they must begin to come and pay official and non-official. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So this is a call for collaboration. This is a call for collaboration to do work of both parties. So the next question is, how many associations?
Sorry, can I just? So commemorate good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm starting on this because I'm also a pharmacist. Right. Yeah, I'm also a pharmacist, apart from being basically it's a program and vice chairman of ceremony. And what he has said is the truth. There was a time I know in our ACPN, we're being harassed a lot by the local governments on so many things to pay and whatever. And honestly, we went to court. And we won the case, at least for some zones. And we're giving, we just made a fact there, we won the case. And so you don't just see people coming to tell you, oh, you're selling this and whatever it is. And there was a consensus right at. So I think he has to, what he's saying is very, very important. If the CLRB can pick it up, and that is going to help a lot in the knowledge of people.
So a lot has been said. We have about 20 minutes to round up the entire program. So it's all about collaboration. From everything we're hearing, it's amazing. We have the people on ground that will support from the back end, while CLRB supports from the front. So I think this is a wonderful collaborative effort. The next question is, what can the regulator do to make customs streamline their policies for seamless clearing and forwarding operations at the ports? What can the regulators do to make customs streamline their policies for seamless clearing and forwarding operations at the ports? Akapapa, the music.
Thank you. So, just like I said earlier, customs also have their laws. And we cannot encroach on those laws. We can only stand as a regulator and try to see how some of these laws can be simmered down for those that are licensed with us. But we cannot say that customs should not apply their laws, shouldn't do what they are supposed to do as customs. So we can only go ahead and see how we can actually plead and ensure that those that are licensed are not frustrated, but they are kind of considered when certain laws are being put.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. We have reactions from the House. We have some comments or reactions from the House. Okay, so the next question is, CLRD is a federal concern. Why is Lagos State interfering in the regulations of the industry, particularly in payment of taxes or charges? So that has been answered already. What can the regulator do to solve multiple taxation? That has also been addressed. Why is Nigeria not having many courier and logistics operators? Is it as a result of the harsh economic environment or unfriendly and harsh regulation? I believe that has also been addressed. So we would want to round up on this note and would also want to take comments from the general public. We do want to. We also have an online community. But people,
Okay, it's
we
online.
have someone behind who would like to respond. Manuel, please can you share the mic?
Good afternoon. My name is Ade Osinjo and I work with content. I have listened to everything that's been said here. And I thank God that around this table in this hall, we have not only experience, we have people who are on the street and they understand what's going on there. My take in all that you have said is that rules, the local government, be happier, for instance, if they get assured revenue, rather than the one that they will stop people from doing their business or harass them while they are doing their business. We cannot, in my opinion, if we are running a true federalism, we cannot say a state or a local government cannot make revenue from their environment, which is what has been happening, even though it may not be bigger. So can we interest them in shared revenue, for instance, and that comes in form of assured income? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That is a very good one. Considering the fact that there is a target involved, it's important to find a workable way to make it work. So we have a contribution from one of our panelists. 2 minutes, sir. Mr. Nehemiah Buba, please, you have 2 minutes to contribute. Thank you, sir. Mr. Buba Nehemiah is the president of the National Union of Post and Telecommunications Employees. Sir, please, you have the floor. You can contribute now.
Yeah.
Sir, please, you have 2 minutes as we're rounding up the program.
So we can't hear you.
Okay.
So he's unmuted. He's unmuted.
We should meet.
He's already unmuted, but we can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, it's not unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Can I go on, please?
Go on.
Go on, 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Please let me apologize due to the network issue that we're having over this way. My name is Comrade Jacob Energy Inako, standing in for the national president, who was online from 12 o'clock, but he has an emergency call from the Nigerian Labour Congress. So he has to attend to that urgent call. Anyway, I think I have listened carefully on some of the contributions from the operators, and it all lies on collaboration. And NUPTE, being the union with the jurisdictional scope to organize workers in this sector, is very paramount for us to be part of this meeting. And as trade union in Nigeria and elsewhere, representing important institutions through collective labor relations is also very important for us to be able to understand what really and what role does this trade union have to play in this sector. And NUPTE, being an affiliate of Nigerian Labour Congress, it is also important that we also highlight some key functions NUPTE can play to build this mutual relationship. And one of it is the political role. The other aspect is the social role. Trade union can also create a sense of democratic feelings at workplace for laborers. And this can also take care of its members and groups. With this, I believe it will also solve a lot of the challenges that we have also highlighted in this meeting. And looking at the importance of this trade union, we will also agree that wherever there is a trade union, decisions taken through this process is through collective bargaining and through negotiations, which becomes a binding document that assists both parties whenever there's a breach. And with this, I believe that NUPTE, being a key stakeholder, can play an important role to see how they can be able to harness this relationship and build this mutual relationship to withstand and to challenge, to what would like to do away with some of these challenges that have been highlighted. And this, I also believe that with NUPTE being on the platform or being among the stakeholder, it will also be important for us to know that it also helps to discipline among workforces. Settlement of industrial disputes in a rational manner. These are some of the key issues why we believe that NUPTE should be a key stakeholder in whatever agreement that we are going to reach us today. And with this, you will also agree with me that with the social status, primary functions, economic protections, these are some of the purpose of this trade union in an organizations. This also cover a lot of challenges that we are having. And with this, we can be able to harness most of all these issues that we are passing through right now. You could also agree that most of the operators, you could also agree that most of these operators are all complaining of some of the challenges that they have been passing through local government, state government, and some of these touts, which the professor have also corrected that they are not touts, but they are being employed, or they are members that have been at source to carry out the duties. But I believe with NUPTE being on the platform, it will help to be able to curtail some of all these issues. And whatever we are going to agree here today, if it is being signed, I believe it will work as a mutual agreement for both parties. And I will also leave this by concluding that if unions are in an organization, it helps to stable the workforce. There's structured in negotiations, employee satisfactions, predictable costs, and improved communication channels.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So that was a speech from
please, in case there's any, in case there's any other question that we need clarification, I think we are also here to see how we can be able to handle it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for connecting online. I'm speaking for the president of the National Union of Post and Telecommunications Employees. So this is a holistic view of getting all the staff involved in this. So thank you very much, sir. We also want to let us all be informed about our upcoming investiture that is holding on the 14th of November this year, 2024, at Oriental Hotel VI. So this is a national event where we bring in both parties from the government, from the private industry, from the private sector, and different sectors. I don't know how many of us were in the 2023 investiture. By show of hands, I'm sure it was an amazing program. So another one is holding in November this year. Please register for it. Usually there's limited space. We also have a side attraction today. Usually when we have such programs here at the Institute, we welcome our members to come in with different, depending on what they do. So you can check your BP, there are different test kits at the back of the hall. when you go out of the door, the last door as you go straight, there's a medical team there that can check. And there's free screen, there's also screening as well going on there. Thank you very much. So we want to have this has been a highly collaborative discussion. Okay, we have a comment, so we'll give each of 1 minute to round up. Just 1 minute.
Just give me, please, can I just have 1 minute?
So 1 minute to round up.
I just, I'm directing this to you, sir.
Please, meeting.
Yes, sir. There is a question.
Please don't mute me.
You have a good question.
1 minute.
Doesn't answer. But I can't monitor the side. So you said you said the regulators. What are they regulating? They are trying.
1 minute, sir.
Yes.
I don't think I asked the question.
No, I'm coming, sir. It's not to make revenue. It needs respect to it. It's to make revenue. Or to make sure there is sanity in the now, the answer is Courier and Logistics Regulatory Department. So every government department is given revenue target to it. But if you look at the regulation, our main purpose, our focus, our drive is not revenue is not at the top of our agenda. To make sure there is sanity in the industry. To make sure there is ease of doing business for those who are legally licensed in the industry. That's what we are doing, sir. Revenue is not at the top. Likely that is at the top. Thank you.
Well, I will, as a parting shot,
Yeah.
and
We have 4 minutes for each of
no,
you.
please, it is important. Else, we may leave here with an impression of us and them.
No, we are not.
No. It was a poster that I raised, and I dare say this very clearly. If indeed NIPOS and the federal government of Nigeria want this sector to thrive, we need to reconsider compliance and enforcement. CLRD must agree to one thing, that yes, you are doing so much, you are striving so much, but you are still a very long way to getting there. Right. Hence my statement that at all times, regulator, and not just CLRD, but in all facets of our being as a nation, regulatory agencies should not be turned into revenue-making agencies. And that's what I posited. And I stand by that. And my brother, all my life in government, I was a regulator. My last posting was Safety Commission. So I know what I'm saying. I am challenging CLRD to go back to its principle. What you spend in enforcing, it's money that you don't have that you are spending. You don't have the money, so you use energy. You use energy. But we can all do better. And I want to be quoted. The day we all agree to review downward the 250,000 cost, number one. The day we all agree to also allow those that we need to properly regulate come in by giving them an opportunity of 12.2, we will all begin to get it. And that's my position.
Okay.
No matter how hard you try, you don't have the personnel. No matter how hard you try, the police or other security agency will give you a fraction of their personnel. So add it together. If we have about 50,000 operators and about 49,500, and the loose one, the cannons, don't you think we need to sit down to look at other ways? And that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, there's a note for you there on your table. I know that's
You know I'm a messenger.
I know.
I also have a principal.
I know very well. Just read it.
We are all here to support CLRD. Are we not? Yes, our conversation today is in support of CLRD. So on a rounding note, would like you very much, sir, as we call you, sir. One note, just 1 minute to round up your speech.
All right, so it's been an exciting, and I think it's worth our while. Thank you very much, Prof, and all those who have put this together. Thank you to all the speakers. I think my parting words would be that there is the possibility to reach the goals. I can see a clear path to get into those goals. My opening remark was about stakeholder buy, and we stay focused on it. And you see my stakeholders address everybody. What Fuad is saying is we should bring more people to the tax, and it does it not because resources will be available. But then what it does is you will not be focusing. You don't have the resources. So if they come willfully because you have made it easier, taking away those barriers to entry for them, then there'll be less need to police it. Hopefully we can create value. Trusting that everyone in this room, thank you for our regulator as well. Create value for us, just create value. And that value will take us to one of those things.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So final word from the head of the CLRD. She's been here with us all through, and we know that we want you to know that we support you and that we do all that we can to support you. So if I think
on a final note, I'd like to thank Prof. Thank you so much for this avenue. I'd also like to thank Honorable. Thank you so much. We gained a lot. Thank you, Deliman, for also coming. I would like to say, going forward, I would like to stand on what the Postmaster General said at a British Chambers, yes, at the program. She said, my post is open to collaboration. Now, I would also like to throw it back to the association. If we have a strong association that can support PLRD, there's nothing that we also need strong associations. Strong associations, not association that is just by name. Associations that will be a voice, will stand and will stand till the end. Just an operator was able to donate a bus. It was on national when he did that. So you can donate. So it's not only night. This problem is not only for night. It's open. It's a general problem, and I believe that together we can do it. Together, this industry will get out of this. Thank you very much.
So one of the questions that came up, sorry, man, is how many operators we have? How many associations we have? Can we quickly answer that question? Okay, sorry. The question was
how many operators?
Yes, how many operators? How many associations are in the courier logistics industry? That question came up. I don't think anybody addressed it. How many associations are in the courier logistics industry? Do we have an answer?
I think you should answer that. I also answer that. Honestly, we have 4 on our list. But if you ask me which of these associations are really active, I can't even tell you. We have some that even the president are not even registered, they are not licensed. You're not licensed with NIPOS. How can you be a voice when you are not even compliant? How can you be a president when you don't even have a license?
That's a poster for the operator.
That's for the operator, not only for the operator, not only, okay, for the operator, yes. Can you be a voice? How can you be a voice?
What's the reason? Why they're not,
Maybe we should ask them. Maybe we should ask them, when you want to be a voice for a group of people, but you yourself, you're not compliant. So we need to do something. If you want to be a voice, for example, I'm a member of the I'm a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. If my president cannot speak to me, cannot guide me, if he is not also doing the right thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So please, we are still going back to compliance, even as the association, compliant. If we have a strong association, I still repeat, this industry can be better than it.
Thank you.
We have a strong association.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sir. A final note from our registrar. Okay, so
Sorry, I want to just say thank you to our panelists. I know Honorable has been reaching to for another assignment. We appreciate your presence, and you begin to see the benefit of this forum. I want to quickly say that this forum has come to stay. I know in one of our analysis, saying committing from, we will make sure that this forum will continue. Calling you at intervals, we'll be meeting like this, rub minds and forge ahead, and create a very serious force that will help the industry to grow. You can imagine all the things that have come out today. So, and to extend it, there's going to be another, like she announced, the international conference of this is coming up to enter hotel in November. I will appeal to everybody, both online and we here, and outside us gather today to be part of it. We are talking of a voice to be heard. We are talking of a community. We are talking of the government listening to us. We are talking of a statement made to the government. We have all said a lot here. If we do not speak, nobody hears you. No matter how you are boiling inside, if Fuad were to be my father, as a father, I will be in the school and there will be home. He has given me money to go to school. And there are some other things that will be worrying me in the school. And I keep lamenting to my schoolmates, look, oh, my father is not doing anything. He's not doing this, not doing that. There is no way he will be able to do anything for me. If we don't cry to our principal, the federal government of Nigeria, nothing happens. You agree with me? So we are extending this conversation to the conference, where we are also going to have government top functionaries. Let us put our minds together. We do this annually, the international conference. And the more we interact this way, we'll be able to get a very strong input to take to the government, and they will hear us. So we appreciate you. Make sure you are part of the conference. Before the conference, let's keep talking. Thank you very much.
we'll take the good pictures outside. We'll take the good pictures. But registrar has the one.
But on that protocol, I want to thank our executive chairman for making this possible. I want to thank the panelists, the regulator, and every one of the CEOs and every one of us that are here. Thank you so much for your time since morning. I really want to say that I think we are making a way forward from what we have had here. We now know that we can go to court to get certain things. Yes, to get certain things effected. But I want to assure you that here on this side of the table, that we have researchers here who would not only research to help to bring the regulator and the operators together, but even help the operators to research into how to develop their businesses. We're not just here, we are as an institute, we want to move forward in your business. Contact us in the areas that you have challenges. Our researchers will help you and they will help you to chart the way forward. Even the regulators, I know, like has been said, that they are not supported more with funds, but we will also help the regulators because we are making a note to the presidency. We have already even made the note, but we are adding this to it because unless, like Honorable Fazi, unless the regulator is funded, you cannot regulate anything.
No.
And then you'll be muzzling the operators to get money. So once again, I just want to thank us. Like Prof said, this has become a forum, and we hold this meeting as we plan it eventually, maybe in 3 months, that or thereabout, regularly, so that we can rub minds together. Thank you so very much for coming. Thank you so very much for coming. I wish you think on the ground. So we'd like to go outside for a good
Okay, let's all go outside for the group photograph. But many of us are not on the CLMI, I'd like to invite you. So you can also be members of CLMI.
Thank you, sir.
If you are not on the CLMI group, you can register your interest.
This weekend, no, this weekend I will do it. Well done.
When your operators get present, if you are not on the CLMI group chat, please indicate so we can register you as members. It's important that as members.
Don't worry.
Group chat.
Madam, don't worry.
Thank you.